The Art of Being Ruled. Wyndham Lewis. Original publication 1926. 1989 edition. Narrated by Skeptical Waves. Part 8. The Vicious Circle. Chapter 5. Genius in the Role of Caliban. No one has explored the regions of post-war decay so brilliantly, if superficially, as Julian Benda. And the pages in his Belphegor, where he describes the organized hatred of the intellect existing everywhere today in our society, are so just that I cannot do better than quote from them. One of the most curious traits of this society is its hatred of the intelligence. Elsewhere we have specified the numerous forms by means of which it expresses this hatred, its wish to confuse intelligence with reasoning of a dry and uninventive sort, in order to thoroughly misrepresent it, to believe that the great discoveries are due to a function, the intuition, which transcends intelligence, its delight at witnessing what it believes to be the setbacks, the failures of science, instead of regarding them as misfortunes. This violent dislike, conscious and organized, of the intellectual has become almost a term of contempt in our salons, constitutes something entirely new in French society. This dislike will be the mark of our time in the history of French civilization. Admirable as it is to be able to see that situation as Benda has, being almost alone in that, and with the surplus of courage to give expression to it, he does not go in search, very seriously, of the reasons for what he has described. People are French people, for some reason, he says, the enemies of that culture of which they used to be the friends, French culture and European culture in general. And that state of affairs is apparently regarded by Benda as natural, although very unfortunate. What he means by French society, and how far what he so describes could in the nature of things be expected to carry on the traditions of feudal and monarchical France, he does not specify. For him Taine, Renan, and Anatole France, I believe, are the last great representatives, in all probability, of French culture. There will be no more figures of that sort, of that stature, of that integrity, of that aloofness. But that does not mean the French state will not be wealthy and powerful. The Roman Empire got on very well as a state with a frantically materialized society in which the light of learning and the intelligence was extinct, as with us. Such conditions do not prevent people from making money. It rather enables them to do that better than ever before. Greek speculative intelligence is not good for war or commerce. In spite of the fact that Benda describes this hatred of the intellect as something entirely new, and in a sense peculiar to contemporary society, he does not wish to go into the reasons for it. He rests within conventional historical parallels. Having first said it as a novelty, he then says it is common to many societies. So he foregoes the merit of having grasped the relative novelty of this fact. For example, he says, and very well and very truly. At the bottom of this taste of our contemporaries for the writer without clear and distinct ideas, let us learn to recognize something profounder still, and common, it seems, to every fashionable gathering or circle, namely, the preference for the feeble intelligence, the aversion to the powerful one. Let the reader recall, going back a little way into history, the gallery of talents, poets, thinkers, journalists, talkers, especially favored by society. How many minds described as fins, delicates, amiable, plein de grace, he will find, how few minds to which Vigouroux would be applied. How many Mailagers, Pliny the Youngers, de la Fere's, Abbé de Choisys, Jules Janius, de Caros, Bergsons, there are, how few de la Rochefoucalds or Montesquieu's. How many feminine natures, how few men. That is of course a matter of common observation. It is evident that the hero of the intellect, no more than the hero of war or finance, is a suitable inmate for the world of the salon. The Box and Handels, David Humes and Schopenhauers of this life have always been somewhat uncouth. Such names evoke such familiar pictures as that of the Princess of Wales saying, "Hush, hush, Handel is angry." When the courtiers preferred talking to listening to the great abstract orator, or of David Hume, like a burly carving in red brick, in the front of the box at the Paris Theatre, hung with a festoon of several ladies of the court. In such instances the intellect, or its possessor, is treated like some strange, it is true, but very sacred animal. The most spoilt of societies in the past have not repudiated their intellectual obligation, while making full use of it, as we do. Where we differ so much is in our repudiation of the debt. We compose ourselves into a militant league of hatred against the creative monster, the inventive brute. Genius has become for us Caliban. What we have become, to make this possible, we do not care to consider.